Caranguejo, capítulo 6, não são honras. Tá, foi aqui que eu parei.
Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
Fine. Do what you...
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day's only starting. It's fine.
How's our fugitive? Doc
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
It seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital, and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel?
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
I didn't see what, but something was there with us. Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
He's right. We can't ignore the truth.
But it could drive her mad.
Better madness than ignorance. Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband...
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do...
Residência Sanders.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders? I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here. You know each other.
Our paths crossed, briefly. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
I expected to find you more grief-stricken than this by the death of your husband.
I do not like the tone of your allusion, sir. I had long months to weep every tear in my body, and to accept, if not my fate, at least that of my husband. And so I'm sorry to disappoint you if you're expecting more hysteria and grieving widow in my voice. Rest assured, however, my anger is real. I need to understand. How could this happen? in a reputed institute. And right before your eyes. Did you not do anything to help him?
Mrs. Sanders, I understand your grief, and I extend my deepest condolences to you. But I had nothing to do with the death of your husband. I've just arrived on Darkwater. I'm investigating the death of the Hawkins family.
The death of the Hawkins family? You mean it was not an accident? This accursed island knows only tragedy after tragedy. You too would be advised to flee it like the plague. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long. Did she really care for him after all? Came into the Sanders' lives. Frances Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even? A house of artists. A house of artists. Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting? He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? He didn't want Sanders to have the painting. She must have felt devastated. She despises Sarah Hawkins, but it's the painting she truly hates. Why? The Shambler. I need to see it. A strange Amerindian. I could use one of those. Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary. Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
I have a well-off client in Boston who heard about the death of Frances Sanders and wanted me to size up his estate before making an offer to his widow.
Nice story. bad lie. Learn how to dupe, Detective. But as long as you keep out of my way, you're free to carry on with your...
And you? What brings you?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquid... She doesn't intend to hang around here.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network. A choice that comes down to Fitz...
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times. The public entrance to the gallery. Why was he so interested in old weapons? The man transforms an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery. What the hell was that? I can't even touch it.
Meu Deus.
What the hell was that?
O que eu preciso fazer?
There has to be a link. Maybe if I destroy it. That thing came out of this painting. There has to be a link. Maybe if I destroy it. Damn. I could try tearing the painting with this thing.
Tá, beleza, mano. É o seguinte, então.
What the hell was that?
Só vem.
Maybe I can use this dagger. Damn it! This dagger didn't work. Damn it! I have to use a specific... This dagger looks different.
Demorado, mas eu consegui, hein? Enfia, enfia nele, enfia nele.
What's the matter with you? You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
You knew. You knew about the beast.
What are you talking about? Think yourself lucky that I saved your hand, even if it was to save my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
The creature. This dagger was the only weapon capable of pushing it back. If Hawkins was trying to get rid of this shambler, she might have made contact with Drake. This antique dealer has a good knowledge of the occult. I have nothing to lose by meeting him.
You've got your spunk back. Go where you want. I'm staying here to talk business with Irene.
A livraria seu nome.
Where's the bookseller? Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of
Ah,
psychoanalysis.
verdade, né?
of the century. Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary. What happened here? Let's start over. With blood. Seems like amateur work. Someone tall left this footprint. A man, probably. No sign of struggle. If the burglar smashed this jar, it wasn't intentionally. Was he hurt then? What killed all these animals? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work? What the... Charles Hawkins? Looks like the symbol rejected Hawkins. What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess? Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe. Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case. What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet? Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills? Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe. A strange amulet. I have a feeling I'd better not touch it. Arkham editions. Never heard of them. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions. Never heard of them. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions. Never heard of them. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions. Never heard of them. Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them.
And these red rocks, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not... I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our... And these red rocks, like precious stones, lie fixed. I finally dear friend. I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me.
The Queen has
Volume
little
9,
protection.
Azathoth and Other Horrors seems particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
The Queen has little protection. The Chalice of Knowledge. The Chalice of Knowledge. The Chalice of Knowledge. The Queen has little protection. The Queen has little protection. The Queen has little protection. The Chalice of Knowledge.
And these red rocks, like precious stones, lie fixed. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
Eu estou por aqui, eu vou editar.